Dear students, today we'll start with chapter 1 of unit 1st of statistical and thermal physics, that is basic ideas of statistical physics. Before coming to statistical physics, let us go through the term statistics, which is a branch of science which deals with the collection, classification and interpretation of data. In our everyday life, we come across the terms like addition, subtraction, division, multiplication, and many calculations, which is called as basic statistics. That means the term basic statistics has become an indispensable part of everyday life. When we apply these statistical concepts to physics, we develop a new branch of physics which is known as statistical physics. This statistical physics basically deals with a system as a whole rather than constituents like molecules or number of a particle forming the system. So this statistical physics depends upon the number of particles. Larger the number of particles in a physical system, more accurate are the results of statistical mechanics. So it is better if we have greater number of a particle constituting a system. The scientists like Maxwell, Boltzmann, Gibbs, etc., when applied these statistical methods or concepts on classical theory to explain the phenomenon like temperature, pressure and energy, etc., and developed a new statistics which is called as classical statistics and generally is known as Maxwell-Boltzmann statistics, and in short term it is known as MB statistics. Further, there were few phenomena like specific heat and black body radiations which cannot be explained on the basis of classical statistics. So the scientists like Bose, Einstein, Fermi and Dirac applied these statistical methods on quantum theory and developed a new statistics which is known as quantum statistics. This quantum statistics is categorized into two depending upon the distribution of number of particles. First is called as Bose-Einstein statistics and in short term is known as BE statistics, and second one is Fermi-Dirac statistics which is known as FD statistics. Before coming to these different type of statistics, let us go through some terms like probability, which will definitely help us to understand these statistics in better way. So the term probability is nothing but it is the possibility of occurrence of an event. There are many terms which comes under probability and which definitely will help us to understand the probability in better way. The first term is trial and events. Trial is nothing but it is an experiment which is done under identical condition, whereas trial may not give a unique result but may be one of the various possible outcomes. The experiment is called trial and the outcomes of the experiment are known as events. That means when we toss a coin, definitely there is a possibility of getting a head up or tail up. That means tossing of a coin is called trial, whereas the possibility of coming head and tail is called events. That means they are the outcomes. Second term is exhaustive events. The total number of possible outcomes in any trial is known as exhaustive events. For example, when we toss a coin, so the possibility of getting a, a head and tail are the outcomes. That means when we toss a coin, there are two number of exhaustive events. Third one is favorable events. Favorable events are the number of cases favorable to an event in a trial. As in drawing a card from a pack of cards, the number of cases favorable to drawing a king is 4. As we know that there are 4 number of kings in a pack of 52 cards. So drawing a possibility of drawing a king from the pack of card is 4. For drawing a red card, the favorable case is 26 because there are 26 number of red cards in a pack of 52 cards. Mutually exclusive event. Events are said to be mutually exclusive if no two of them can occur simultaneously. For example, when we toss a coin, so there is a possibility of occurring a head, either a head up or a tail up. So getting a tail up or head up cannot be taken place simultaneously. Next is equally likely event. When the possibility of occurrence of event is equal. For example, it is in the case of tossing of a coin. So we have equal possibility of getting a head or tail. That is called as equally likely events. Last of all, it is independent events. When the occurrence of one does not affect the occurrence of other. For example, in tossing a coin, the event of getting head in the first toss is independent of getting a head in the second, and so on. That means in which the occurrence of an event does not affect the occurrence of same event in another toss. So this is all about some small terms in probability. So next we have the term probability. Naturally, we now know that probability is the possibility of occurrence of an event. For example, when we toss a coin, there is an equal chance of getting a head up and a tail up. So the probability of head coming up is given by number of ways in which the head up divided by the total number of ways. So the total number of ways in tossing a coin is equal to 2 because we may get head up or we may get tail up. So the total number of ways are 2, whereas the number of occurrence of a head up is only 1. That means the probability of head coming up is always equal to 1 divided by 2. Similarly, probability of tail coming up will be equal to number of ways in which the tail up divided by total number of ways. Again, the possibility of occurring of a tail up is also 1. Therefore, probability of tail coming up will be also equal to 1 divided by 2. If an event can occur in m ways and fails to occur in n ways, then probability of happening or occurrence of an event is always given by number of ways in the event occurs divided by total number of equally likely ways. Total number of equally likely ways will be equal to sum of the events occurs plus the number of ways which fails to happen, that means which is m plus n. That means probability of happening the event will be always equal to m divided by m plus 1, m plus n. If we need to calculate probability of non-occurrence of the event, it will be always equal to 1 minus of probability of happening the event. That means it will be equal to 1 minus m divided by m plus n, which comes out to be n divided by m plus n. So now it is all clear about the term probability. So there is a question. If a card is drawn from a well shuffled pack of cards, calculate the probability for the card to be a queen. And second one is a queen of hearts. Means we need to calculate the probability of getting a queen out of 52 cards. That means probability of the card to be a queen is equal to, so there are 4 number of queen, that means the possibility of occurrence of event is equal to 4. That means it will be 4 divided by 52. That means 4 divided by 52 is always equals to 1 divided by 13. That means probability of card to be a queen is equal to 1 divided by 13. And the second is calculation of probability of a queen of hearts. Queen of heart is only one in total 52 cards. That means the number of possible way is of occurrence is only one. That means possibility of probability of getting a queen of heart is equal to 1 divided by 52. Clear? So the second term here is principle of equal a priori probability. You are now well familiar with probability. The new term introduced here is a priori probability. Priori probability is nothing but it is assuming equal possibilities for like events, means which exist in our mind prior to its actual occurrence. Means, for example, when we toss a coil without performing the experiment or getting experienced, we already know that there is a possibility of either getting a head or getting a tail. Means there are two equal possibilities of getting a head or tail. This is basically called as an a priori probability. That means priori probability is a principle of assuming equal probabilities for like events is called principle of equal priori probability. Next we have permutations and combinations. These are the terms from mathematics. Permutations are nothing but these are arrangements, and combinations are actually groups. The number of permutations P and R of n things taken R at a time is given by, whereas P and R is the permutation and n are the number of things taken, number of takes R at a times is given by n factorial divided by n minus R factorial, whereas n factorial is equal to n into n minus 1, n minus 2, n minus 3 and so on. So how do we calculate 5 factorial? It will be always equal to 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1. When we multiply them, we'll get 120. That means number of things are equal to 120. If we know the values of n and r, there is always possibility of calculation of number of permutations. Similarly, it is combinations. Combinations are group, or we can say that the different groups that can be formed from the given number of things taken, some or all of them at a time, are called combinations. Combinations are equal to n factorial divided by r factorial into n minus r factorial. If we know the values of n and r, there is always possibility of calculations of various combinations or groups by using this formula. Next we have distribution of 4 different particles in 2 compartments of equal size. So let us consider 4 particles A, B, C, D. These are 4 distinguishable particles are distributed in 2 compartments of equal size. Before performing this experiment, let us assume some assumptions. Like first is, the particle thrown must go in one of the compartments, means when we throw particles in 2 compartments, they shall definitely or surely go into one of the compartments. Second one is, the compartments are exactly alike. That means 2 compartments must be same in size, shape and environment. And the third one is, the total number of particles in both the compartments must be 4. That means when we throw 4 particles in 2 compartments, that means all the particles should surely go into the compartments. So further, let us see how do we distribute these 4 distinguishable particles into 2 compartments. This is first compartment and this one is second compartment. The first arrangement is, when we throw 4 particles, all the 4 particles enter into first compartment and second compartment remain empty. Means the distribution can be designated as 4, 0, because there are 4 number of particle in first compartment and there is no particle in the second. Second arrangement is, when we throw 4 particles, 3 particle enter into first compartment and 1 particle enter into the second compartment. That means arrangement is 3 and 1, but distinct arrangement can be like A, B, C in the first, D in the second, B, C, D in the first, A in the second, C, D, A in the first and B in the second, D, A, B in the first and C in the second. So total number of distinct arrangement are, this is first, this is second, this is third and this is 4. That means 4 arrangement, but the distribution is 3, 1. Similarly, when we throw 4 particles, they get divided into 2 and 2. 2 will fall into first compartment and 2 will fall into second compartment. So the different possible arrangements are A, B in the first, C, D in the second, B, C in the first and D, A in the second, and similarly likewise. And the total number of arrangements we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. So there are 6 distinct arrangements, whereas arrangement can be designated as 2, 2. And the next arrangement is, 1 particle will enter into first compartment, whereas 3 particles will enter into second compartment. Therefore, this arrangement is exactly reciprocal to the second arrangement. Means A will enter into first, B, C, D into second. B will enter into first and A, C, D into second, and similarly C and D. So total number of arrangements are 1, 2, 3 and 4, whereas the distribution can be written as a 1, 3 because first compartment has only 1 particle, whereas second compartment have 3 particles. So the last arrangement is, all the particle will enter into the second compartment, whereas the first will remain empty, and the arrangement is designated as 0, 4. This is how the distribution take place in 2 compartments. So through these distribution we can get three important terms which are known as macrostates, second is microstates, and third is the thermodynamic probability designated as by W. What are macrostates? The specification of number of particles in each compartment means, for example, it is 4 and 0. That means it is specified here that 4 particles are in one compartment and there is no particle in the second compartment. 3 and 1 means there are 3 particles in the first compartment and 1 particle in the second compartment. 2 and 2 means there are 2 particles in first compartment and 2 particles in second compartments. Means macrostates are which gives you the specification of number of particles in each compartment. Also, it gives the number of macrostates of the system. Number of macrostates of the system are always one more than the number of distinguishable particle. How many distinguishable particle are there in this system? There are 4 distinguishable particles. That means the number of macrostate will be always equals to 5, means one more than the number of distinguishable particle. If number of particles equal to n, that means the number of macrostate equal to n plus 1, that means 4 plus 1 is equal to 5. Second term is microstates. Each distinct arrangement is called microstate. Distinct arrangement means by which we can recognize that which particle enter into which compartment. For example, here we have 3 and 0, 3 and 1 macrostate. So from here we come to know that A, B, C entering into the first and D entering into the second, B, C, D entering into the first and A entering into second compartment. That means these are called distinct arrangements. So the in 3 and 1 macrostate, the number of distinct arrangements are 1, 2, 3 and 4. Therefore, for 3 and 1 macrostate, we have 4 microstate. In this case, we have 2 and 2 macrostate. Number of distinct arrangements are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That means the number of distinct arrangements are 6. Therefore, the number of microstates are 6. Further, it is thermodynamic probability. Thermodynamic probability is nothing but it is number of microstates in the given macrostate. For example, we have 3 and 1 macrostate. So total number of microstate here is 4. That means thermodynamic probability will also be equal to 4. For example, in this case, the number of microstates are 6. That means the thermodynamic probability is also 6. Means thermodynamic probability is always equal to number of microstates. If we know the number of microstates, that means we already knew the value of thermodynamic probability. So this is all about the distribution of 4 distinguishable particles or different particles in 2 compartments. This is how we distributed 4 particles into 2 compartments. Like these are the macrostates 4, 0, 3 and 1. This is the specification and this is the number of microstate. Naturally, in 4, 0 macrostate, the distinct arrangement is only 1. That means number of microstate is equal to 1. In 3 and 1 macrostate, number of arrangements are 1, 2, 3 and 4. That means number of microstates equal to 4. Here we have a 6, here we have 4 and here we have 1. This is how from distribution we can know the values of macrostates and microstates. Now we have probability of macrostate and microstate. In this topic, we'll come to know that how do we calculate the probability of microstate and the probability of macrostate. See, first we have the probability of a microstate is given by P is equal to 1 divided by total number of microstates of the system. That means here we are trying to calculate the probability of one microstate. The probability of one microstate is always calculated by ratio of the number of microstates divided by the total number of microstates of the system. So here we have only one microstate, that means number of microstates is equal to 1 divided by the total number of microstates of the system. Next we have probability of a macrostate. How do we calculate probability of a macrostate? That is defined as ratio of number of microstates in it to the total number of microstates of the system. Same here, you have the number of microstates in the macrostate and total number of microstate in the system. That means number of microstate is also termed as thermodynamic probability, because thermodynamic we have already done in the previous section that thermodynamic probability is also equal to the number of microstates on the system. That means we can replace number of microstates in the macrostate by thermodynamic probability multiplied by, because 1 upon total number of microstates in the system is denoted by probability of one microstate, which we have done over here. That means probability of a macrostate can be written as equal to thermodynamic probability multiplied by probability of one microstate. Clear? I hope it is clear now. Next we come to the topic constraints and its effect on the system. What is constraint? Basically the term constraint is the conditions which are applied on the system. That means the conditions which are applied on the system, that means system has to obey those conditions which are being applied on them. For example, there are certain conditions in which the system has to obey. For example, as we have already done in the previous section, that distribution of four particles in two compartments, that means the constraint applied is there that the total number of particles in two halves of the box must be 4. That means when we throw 4 particles into the two compartments, that means the total number of particles which are entering into the two compartments must be equals to 4. That means possible macrostates are 4 0 3 1 2 2 1 3. So here you can see that in all the microstates total number of a particle are 0 plus 1 4, 3 plus 1 4, again 2 plus 2 4, again 3 plus 1 4, again 4 plus 0 4. That means every arrangement is obeying the constraint applied on the system. The macrostates, like for example, it can be possible that maybe one or two particle fall out of the box and we have only 3, sometimes we have only 2 particles in the compartments. That means the arrangement can be 1 and 2, 3 and 2. That means total number of particles in one microstate is 3 plus 2 5, 2 plus 1 3, which is not accessible. That means why they are not accessible or possible, because they are not, these macrostates are not following the constraint which is being applied on the system. The condition that the sum of the particle in both the halves of the box to be 4 is called a constraints. Clear? Now you are familiar with what is constraints. After that we have accessible and inaccessible states. Constraint on the system determines the accessible and inaccessible microstate or macrostates of the system. See, here in this situation, the possible macrostate which were possible were 4 and 0, 3 and 1, 2 and 2, 1 and 3, and 0 and 4. That means the possible macrostates are 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 because they are obeying the constraint which are applied on the system. And second one, here we can see that it is 1 2 3 2 which are not possible because these macro states are not following the constraint applied on the system. That is why they are as an inaccessible events or inaccessible states. That means if we know the macro state and the possible macro states and the macro states which are not possible, we are always able to calculate accessible and inaccessible state. This completes your first chapter, and I think all the topics are included here. And still, if you have any doubt over any topic, over any point, you are most welcome to upload it in the Google Classroom, which is named as BSc Physics. And I'll soon upload or share the code for this classroom on the WhatsApp group. So this was all for the day. Thank you and have a nice day.